Everybody, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for tuning in. For some reason yesterday, thinking about Rush now that they're back together, not the original band, but I caught a thought about this thing that's I've been thinking about for a while and never talked about it, but I wanted to talk about it. And it's an interesting time for the band. This was a time when Neil Peart, the drummer, lost his wife and daughter in a short period of time. And a lot back in my time, we thought Rush were done. And luckily for us, they came out with this album called Vapor Trails, and this was released in 2002. I remember being overjoyed. The thought of Rush back together after tragedy, stuff I could not fathom anybody going through and coming out unscathed and working again. Because he didn't need to work. He's got the money. He could have just taken it easy and just live a quiet life. And he came back. And they released this album, which at the time I really enjoyed. But I always thought the sound was a little strange. But then I just thought because of the instances in Neil Peart's life, he wanted a raw sounding, a wall of sound. It was, I think, part of what he was going through. He's in this raw state of mind. He's not in this same guy that he was during Power Windows or something. Or, the guy who wrote Closer to the Heart. He's not that guy anymore, and he's in, I think, in a darker place. And that's why the way I took the album. But a lot of people kept saying, no, it's not sounding right. It's too raw. It's too compressed. It sounds like the loudness wars of the CD era of that time, and it's not mixed well. And then you hear Rush said they didn't like the mixing of it, and I said, well, what can we do about it? 2013, the studio albums is a box set, and I kind of looked in the back and went, Vapor Trails Remixed. I'm buying that. I'm buying that sucker. I played it and I never compared it until I think last night. For some reason, I got up because they were talking about Geddy Lee having vocal issues and the tours stopped for a bit. And I said, I'll put some Rush on. And I went. And the first thing I picked was the box that said, oh, yeah, this one with the Vapor Trails remixed. And I put that on. And then I go, well, what's the difference between that and the original? Is it that much? I noticed I found the instrumentation is a little bit more open. There is, I think, a different guitar solo on what's the song? Ceiling Unlimited, if I remember. Yes. I think there's a guitar solo that wasn't on the original album. There is a slight touch up there. So besides the remixing, there is additional guitar there from what I remember trying to put them back to back and see if I can remember everything. The remix sounds clearer, a little bit like Geddy Lee's vocals is a little bit more clear. The instrumentation, it seems to be more flushed out, giving them a little bit more space to breathe. While the other one, the original, is kind of dark and muddy and compressed. But I always thought that's because the state of mind of the band at that time. I think they weren't, especially Neil Peart was not in a good place, and I think this was just therapy, and that's why I took the album. So I'm taking it as there's two different versions of this album. If I want to listen to it clear and crisp, I'll put the remix on. If I want to hear the one that I grew up with, I'll put on the original that I bought. And they both have their redeeming qualities. I like some of that rawness to Rush. I like that, it's not as polished and clean as, let's say, Hold Your Fire, 2112, even Counterparts. As guitar oriented, it is a very crystal clear sounding album. This is not. This is a little bit muddy, a little bit raw, a little bit distorted, and that's okay. I took it as that's Neil Peart's state of mind at that point, and I accepted it for it. Again, so I have two different versions of the album, and both have something to offer me. So, do you have both of them? Anybody out there? Do you notice the difference? Does it bother you, or are you stuck on the original? I know I was reading something. There's a lot of people that are sticking to that original and will not budge and even bother to listen to the remix. So let me know your thoughts on this. Share them with me. Hit that like button, subscribe if you can. It will do wonders to the algorithm. And I would definitely love to hear your thoughts on this. Is something I've been thinking about for a while, and I just thought I'd put it out there. So you let me know what you think. Share your thoughts with me. I'd love to hear from you. And this is Stephen from the Roundtable with my thoughts on the two versions of Rush's, I guess, I don't know if you want to say polarizing album Vapor Trails, but I'm going to say polarizing. And I'll be seeing you guys in the future.